Here's a gentleman who has eaten pizza but never served one up, at least not on the ice. It's former Vancouver Canuck and TSN hockey analyst, Mr. Frank Corrado. How are you?
Boys, I've eaten my fair share and I've coughed up my fair share. Who are we kidding?
Do you remember the first time you heard the term pizza as like a hockey turnover? Like, where does that come from, best that you can tell or remember?
See, I don't want to promote any other brands that you're not promoting.
Okay.
But it comes from the term, it's hot and it's ready and it's right there for you. And that's why it's
okay. I see.
Right? So giveaway right up the middle. It's hot and ready. Just go get it.
We started using it with Luca Spiza, who not Italian, Swiss, but you know that border.
He's Italian though. He speaks more Italian than me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyways, that's the first time I remember it used.
Well, and
I liked Spies. I liked him. Like I think I played a great
good dude, really good dude.
Yeah. He was. I mean, that whole era, I feel like there were people asked to do too much on those teams, but I kind of liked playing with him. He kept it pretty simple. He talked a lot for me. I don't know.
It didn't help that his last name was close to pizza.
That's right.
Well, yeah,
that's right. It's piece of pizza.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Frank, we have got to talk about JT Miller and the New York Rangers and what isn't happening there now. As we mentioned earlier, he does get a point last night, but he's very critical about himself and his lack of production so far this year. We're also asking, is it now clear that the Vancouver Canucks made the correct choice in Pettersson over Miller?
Yes, it's clear that they made the correct choice. We said that at the time, like that Pettersson was the guy. More skill, higher ceiling, younger player, like checked way more boxes for what you would need or want moving forward. And it's just not like an isolated incident that you look at in JT Miller and be like, oh, that's the reason why, you would pick Pettersson. It's a lot of things. It's a track record. I don't know, but like Elias Pettersson was the right guy to pick at the time. And as far as what's going on in New York, it's bizarre. They can't win games at home. They win games on the road. Now they go into a building last night that's hard to win in Vegas. And if you haven't seen it, like I'm sure everyone will see it today, the clip of him kind of going straight-legged and Dorofeev skates right by him. And then next thing you know, the puck's in the back of the net. Like people in Vancouver have seen that song and dance before. And in a year with the Rangers where they've kind of coined this term, no BS, right? Like no BS this year. We're all business. Well, that's BS, man. Like that is BS right there. And that's why people would get on your case. And like, I guess in fairness to JT Miller, like when things are going well for him and the team, he's a dynamo. He's great. We saw it in Vancouver for such a long period of time. He's not a bad player. He's an exciting player. And when it's going great for him. When it's going bad, it's like the polar opposite. It's like his body language doesn't signify, hey, it's going bad around us. I'm going to be the one that leads the change here and just puts on a front, even if I don't believe it or I don't feel it, just to show that it's positive. Like I think that's just the reality of JT Miller and who he's been and who he is. And you have to take the good with the bad at this point.
Frank, Jeff Fayette in Toronto knows the Vancouver market pretty well. And he called JT Miller an amplifier. If your team's buzzing, he's rocket fuel. If they're struggling, he's an anvil. He will make whatever is happening bigger, good and bad. And that sort of tracks for how he reacts with your team.
That the terminology and the vocabulary that Jeff used, and Jeff knows the Vancouver market very well. Like he's followed the Canucks for a long time. That's very appropriate for JT Miller. Now, I don't know if you want your captain to be a guy that goes wherever the wind goes, though. And that's what was tough.
No.
That what was tough about him in Vancouver, right? Like you guys know the way it is. Everyone listening knows the way it is. When times have been bad in Vancouver over the years, boy, they get bad and they can get borderline toxic. But when they're good, there's not many places better to play than Vancouver. The fan support that you get at that arena, When it's playoff time and your team is buzzing, there's not many places like it. But yeah, JT Miller being a guy that kind of goes with the wind, captains have to fake it sometimes. It's not being phony. You have to fake it for the optics of the group, with the fans, with the media, with your teammates. Just the reality. It's not fair, but there's only one captain per team, and you have to be willing to do those types of things.
Now, I do have a mea culpa in this equation, however, Frank. Yes, it was the right decision. I think the three of us all agreed you were forced to trade JT Miller in this equation because of the contracts, et cetera, and age. But I did not see Elias Pettersson with all these multi-point games in the last 2 weeks. I did not see, I had grown weary of Elias Pettersson. These last four games have been a bit of a revelation here. Like the swings in momentum of Miller and Pettersson in the last week alone is pretty crazy.
It's good for Pettersson in a number of different ways. Like, he's on pace now for 75 points. Given the way last season went, that's a remarkable turnaround for him. It was not reasonable to expect him to just turn into 100 points overnight, but to take a pretty significant step and be a 75-point guy and maybe push up to 80, that's perfect. That's great. Like, what more do you want after the way things went last season? And not to mention, the team is decimated with injuries and he's having to do a lot. You know, no forward has blocked more shots in the NHL this season than Elias Pettersson. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that the guy's intent is in the right place to move this thing forward and be a part of the solution and get himself back to where you feel like he's worth his value, I mean, nothing's going to tell you that. Nothing's going to convince you of that if you don't see that stat right there and say, man, like, this guy, he wants to do it. There's good intentions there. And now the points are coming along with it. So it's been great. It's been great for him. And it's not something that you can just flip a switch. Two things: if you've been injured and you've struggled with confidence, and both of those have happened for him at the same time. If one of those happens, it's hard enough to just flip a switch. But it feels like now some time has gone by. He's playing better hockey. Listen, he's probably never going to be a burner. Like, he's not going to be a speed demon out there. But can he dance you every once in a while? He sure can. Is he willing to block a shot with the game on the line? He absolutely is. And he's shooting the puck with more intent as well. So it's been a really nice little time here for Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, and yet he's not putting a ton of shots on goal, Frank. He talked a few weeks ago about how his goal is to put 3 shots on goal per game. He's not getting anywhere near that, and yet the points are going in. Of course, the points are going in for a lot of Vancouver Canucks right now, and I think some of this is also that his teammates are playing better, and thus he's getting on the score sheet, whereas otherwise he wouldn't.
Well, the other thing is the team just doesn't shoot the puck a lot because they don't have it a lot. Like, they've kind of rode this shooting percentage for quite some time now, and the shooting percentage was really bloated on the road trip as well, which is great. Like, that's going to help everyone pad their numbers, but he can't shoot it because they don't have it that much, and they don't shoot it as a team, and they've kind of made good on a lot of the quality chances that they had, and I'm like, if you get 5 on Sergei Bobrovsky, you have to win that game. No, like, you don't get that opportunity very often. Like, I'm not overly concerned about that, Matt. I'm more concerned on the defensive side of the puck for them, because realistically, the shooting percentage will come down. That'll regulate. But what happens if you're still giving up as many grade A's as they do, and you're loose in front of your own net, and you're letting guys get second whacks, or you're letting guys getting surprise chances in front of your goaltender? Like, that doesn't help you while your shooting percentage is kind of coming crashing down. So that's if I'm looking at what Vancouver's priority needs to be every day in practice, it's like, figure out the stuff in front of your own net, and the amount of shots that we're getting and the volume and the quality, that's kind of secondary right now, because you're scoring, but it's going to come crashing down. But you have to find a way to defend way better.
Yeah, 9-10-2 through 21. They are 3 points out of a playoff spot with 5 teams to jump, Frank. We have talked about this in the past, But the system that Adam Foote is trying to play here, a more man system, which requires skating and reads and all the goals and chances that they're giving up for a team that we looked at on paper and said, that's a pretty good defense core. Those are pretty good goaltenders. That's even a pretty decent collection of defensive forwards. We thought that would be their hallmark. It's anything but. We've been talking this week. At what point, if you're Adam Foote, do you say, okay, I would like to play this way, but that's not my personnel. We've got to go and do something that stems the bleeding.
The hard part with that now is in November, if you walk into the room and you look at your team and you say, we're changing the way we do everything, you're going to get worse. And I don't know if it's ever going to get better. Like, that's why you use training camp to kind of roll out all these things. And it's why you have conversations with guys in the off season so they could wrap their head around what exactly it is they're doing, and use the preseason to iron out all the kinks and get these things kind of implemented within your group and ingrained in your group. And if you want to show up in the middle of November and change it, you're going to cause a lot of confusion to guys. So you're almost better off, Matt. Like, you just kind of have to like double down on what you're doing, but just find a way to just evaluate, like, okay, where does it go worst for us, and deal with that first, and then move on to the next thing. Like, for me, that it's too easy when you watch the Canucks play. It's too easy, like right in front of their crease, and the way they handle things behind the net. Like, there's probably some trade-offs and some switches that need to happen, like just a little more of like some rules, I guess. And you don't want to box guys in, but the defensive side of the game is not meant to be fun. Like, it's not meant to be pretty. It's not meant to be open for interpretation. It's meant to be, this is what we do, and when the puck moves there, he goes there or I go here, and we're all on the same page about it. So that's, I mean, I don't know if you can change right now. I think you just have to do the best with what you're trying to do, and hope that that's a solution.
How much video do they do on the road, do you think? They've been on the road a lot, and there's not been a lot of days off. And presumably this is the kind of thing that you'd want to work on video with the players and say, hey, well, why are you going here? Why'd you make that decision when you know you should? Like, isn't that the case here?
It's a real thing, actually. Like, you do less video on the road for sure, because the bulk of your like learning video sessions are done at practices, and the less practices you're having, the more now you're cramming stuff into a game day, right? So you might do a quick game review. Let's say on a game day you're on the road. You might do a quick game review from last game, but the coach probably says at the same time, okay, we got to get that out of our brains to a certain degree, because we need to prepare for Florida tonight. And here's what Florida's coming at us with. This is their face-off. This is their forecheck. This is their neutral zone. This is their D-zone coverage, yada, yada, yada. And then you're going to have your special teams meetings. The challenge you have is people's, even professional athletes, attention spans, they're just not that, you can't absorb that much especially on a game day. You don't want to bog guys down with a million pieces of information, because you also want them to just go play and be instinctual, right? So that becomes a challenge. Like, your learning video clips are usually on practice days. And so, yeah, when you're on the road, there's less of that. So it's more just, what do we have? What's the task at hand tonight against whatever team we're playing? And so, yeah, it becomes more of a challenge for sure.
Celebrini and Bedard. Do we need to put them on the Olympic team regardless of age?
Starting to feel that way, because let me ask you guys this. If you don't have Bedard on the team, and let's say he keeps this up, let's say he keeps, scoring like the way he is, primary assists the way he is, and he doesn't make the team, did he ever actually have a shot? Doesn't feel like it, right?
Yeah, like he was X'd out early on. If he holds up his end of the bargain, right, and he knocks the door down and he doesn't make this team, then he never actually had a shot to make it. Well, is age a disqualifying factor? Like,
I think age and role. Like, I don't I don't see why they should have an issue bringing two young guys, Celebrini and Bedard. Like, if you want to talk about Schaefer in the mix as well, then okay, maybe that. I don't know what your appetite is to have three guys under 20, but you can also, talk about how much are they actually going to play. But I was kind of thinking about this. Okay, you pick these teams and you have defined roles, but you also look for guys that are the best at what they do. Right? You have the luxury of that. And I start to ponder, like, okay, Connor McDavid's the best playmaker in the NHL. He's a left-handed shot. Right now, Connor Bedard has the best shot and release in the NHL. Like, there's no question. No one's shooting the puck the way he does right now. And McDavid's left-handed, Bedard's right-handed. And I'm like, doesn't it, like, even curiosity, just for a little bit, if you're in management, don't you wonder, well, what the hell does that look like when these two guys are streaking up the ice and, like, McDavid's beating someone one-on-one, left-handed shot, puts it right onto the right-handed shot, and then this Bedard is going to do his, like, pull and drag release. Like, doesn't it cross your mind for a second to see what that looks like? I know there's other great players, but holy moly, man, we got to score goals here.
Yep. And of course, Macklin's no slouch defensively. The one, so let me just be devil's advocate for a second. Mm-hmm. We're talking about two younger players who are not quite yet man strength, fully formed physically, and might be a little easier to push around.
Particularly
Fair.
Against the U.S.
Yeah. Well, I think Macklin, you would have a harder time making that argument about Celebrini because he's shown for me, he's shown more defensive acumen, and that goes back to last year. Like, that's not something he arrived this year with. That goes back to him being an 18-year-old. So I don't worry so much about him. The Bedard one, I can understand where you're coming from there. But at the same time, he's improved like miles and miles from where he was last year. And if it was truly like all booked up in the top six, could you find a spot for Connor Bedard in the bottom six? I think that's where his discussion is. What's the actual defined role for him? Because if we feel like we like our top six, how does he fit into a third line role when I want to have a checking line? And does he play on a fourth line when there might be some bigger, more burly players, maybe what you're inferring to there, Matt? So I get that. I do. But I think it's going to be hard for them if the guy keeps scoring the way he does. And it's a good problem to have. Like, you wake up today, and if you're a Canadian hockey fan, like, you look at the top five in scoring and you see McKinnon, Celebrini, McDavid, Bedard, and Scheifele, right? Like, that's pretty good stuff right now if you're Team Canada.
Yep. Scheifele making a push too. The two utility clubs helps, right? Going to 14 forwards on the roster and guys to bring. I mean, you're allowed two utility clubs, and guys, is it terrible that you bring them both and maybe only one of them plays against the U.S.? Like, I'm not worried about Connor Bedard versus Sweden.
I'm not worried about either of them against any team other than the
I'm
United
not worried
States.
about them against the U.S., to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm not.
Not like, defensively, just physically is what I'm worried about.
I get what the U.S. is going to do. They're going to bring their big guys. Like, they'll have, who knows who they'll have on the fourth line. Like, Dylan Larkin will be on the fourth line. He's a really good player too. Like, I get it, but I don't know, man. The margins are so slim in these things. And we'll see like what kind of hockey it looks like. It's going to be great hockey, but when push comes to shove and you need one goal, man, it's going to be hard to digest that you left 25, 30 goals. We'll see what the total looks like at that point, but it's going to be hard to digest if you didn't bring that much firepower and you could have used it.
Didn't Marner score one of the goals against the U.S. in the Four Nations face-off? I think Marner scored against the U.S., and Marner's not exactly known for being a physical behemoth that can withstand the grind.
And here's the other thing, too. Like, when you talk about players doing defined roles and maybe checking, there also some of these really skilled guys, they're the best at what they do, and that's being skilled. But if you ask them, like if you went to Mitch Marner and you said, Mitch, we need you to play third line and be a great checker and show us that you're a Selke nominee, he'd probably be better than most checkers at it, right? It's just he's so talented and immensely skilled that Right. Like he's a skill player before he's a checker. But if you ask him to be a checker, I bet he would be better than, pick your player that you would think should define that role.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Fire in last year's USA-Canada games, whether it's the Tkachuk brothers, JT Miller, though I'm not sure he's going to be on this team. I could see them going after Celebrini and Bedard, trying to make life uncomfortable. But then there's this, guys. There could be shootouts at this tournament for a medal or to advance, and it is a 5-round shootout after the overtime in every game but the gold medal game, which gets 20 minutes of sudden death overtime. God, I'd sure like those guys as part of my 5.
Yeah.
Shooting. You look at the goal Macklin scores last night on that breakaway. I think I want these two guys with the puck on their stick if we're going down to a one-on-one skills competition for advancement.
I know, man. It'll be interesting because these guys have done everything they possibly can. Like they're leaving no stone unturned at this point. And if we get to that point when they select the roster and Bedard has done all of this and then some, and he's not on the team, well, he just never had a shot to begin with. And that's the reality of it.
Great stuff, Frank. Thank you for this. We'll catch up next week. Have a good one.
All right, boys. Have a good one.